just like to be able to share an experience that I had with everybody back in, let's see, August 18th and 19th. It was the Thursday, Friday before I was invited to preach my first sermon. And I never saw this coming. This is an opportunity where faith overcame fear. And so just to give you a little history, my sister volunteers for an organization down in Rhode Island called Make-A-Wish Foundation. And their chapter down there is called A Wish Come True. So she comes across these distressed families for various reasons, economic, health related. Well, anyway, there was two young boys that one was actually dying. His name was Arias Rosario. He was in hospice, cancer, 7 years old. Another boy has been in a wheelchair since he's been 5 years old. He's 8 now. His name's Isaiah. And so my sister Catherine asked me if I would come down and just pray over them, pray for healing. She's she knows me, and she's heard that I've had some divine encounters with her, with God and stuff. So she wanted me to come down for a healing, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? And if my schedule cleared, I'd be more than happy to. And sure enough, my schedule cleared, and I'm like, oh great, now I got to really go through this. So we did meet the family. We met Isaiah first, and then I prayed for a healing, that he would walk and get out of his wheelchair, and he closed that prayer with amen. I mean, it was so exciting. But the other family, we did not get to meet. There was too much going on in hospice, too much coming and going, so we never really made contact with Arias. And so that was 3 weeks earlier. And then I get a call from my sister saying that, in fact, he did pass away. And that the family would like you to come down and offer some prayer. And I was stunned. I go, me? I haven't even met this family. But the relationship my sister had with this family, and just telling them about me and the fact that we couldn't connect. They asked me if they invited me to come down to offer some prayer at the wake, and I said, sure. Once again, my schedule cleared, so I drove down to Rhode Island on Thursday the 18th. I left the house at 9 o'clock. Oh, here's another thing. The first license plate that I passed as I crossed the border of Rhode Island, on that license plate, it said, I am. And I'm going, oh, okay. Wow, I got a chill, And then, so I get to my mother's house, and then my sister picks me up. The wake was at 5 o'clock. Picked me up. We went to the wake. I didn't know a soul, and so we go through the receiving line. I meet the Rosario family for the first time, and then Catherine and we sit down, and now there's people coming and going through this receiving line, and we're sitting there, and I nudge Catherine and I says, hey, when do I go up and pray? She goes, I don't know, let's talk to somebody. So we talked to some, is there a funeral director here? So we found somebody that looked like he was running the show. And I introduced myself and saying that the family has invited me to come down and pray. The man says, oh, you're the guy. I'm like, what do you mean I'm the guy? Oh, we've been expecting you. I'm like, yeah, I know. I said I'd come down and pray. When am I going to get up and pray? Um, and he goes, oh, I'll shut the video off and the music, and I'll give you an opportunity to go up there. And I says, great. And I said, well, what about tomorrow at the funeral? He goes, at the gravesite. He goes, no, you're it. He says, what do you mean you're it? And he says, we met with this family, and we asked them if they wanted to get a priest, a chaplain, or a pastor, and they said no. Our friend's brother is going to come down, and he's going to preside over the funeral. I had no idea what I was walking into, and frankly, I couldn't believe it. I was just stunned. And so he says, here, let's go up and I'll introduce you, and then you can pray. And so we did. And I opened up with the prayer. I opened up first by saying, I'm not a licensed pastor. I'm not a licensed priest. I'm not a licensed chaplain. I'm an elder at Byfield Parish Church in Georgetown. And I've been invited to pray over for the Rosario family. And I'm just being a neighbor. And a neighbor is anybody whose need you see, God puts you in a position to meet. And so then I just prayed for the family, and I looked at everybody, and I said, we're all being a neighbor to this Rosario family. And I shared Christ with them, and so that we have an eternal hope at the risen Christ, that death has been defeated, and so we have hope. And then, so tomorrow we will continue this service at the gravesite. And so I said that, and I just wrapped up the prayer, and that was it. We left. I got back to my mother's house. I was in a state of panic. I called Brent. I said, Brent, you're not going to believe what I just walked into. And he says to me, he goes, I can't imagine being put in a more intimate position than having to preside over the loss of a 7-year-old son to a family that you've never met. And I says, Brent, I'm stunned. He goes, had I known what I was walking into, I'd have backed up. But I had to press on. I'm it.